أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه الأخيار، أما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We look at our next topic, which is إسناد الأفعال الصحيحة والمعتلة إلى الضمائر البارزة. إسناد الأفعال الصحيحة والمعتلة إلى الضمائر البارزة. إسناد السالم والمهموز والمثال إلى الضمائر. This topic is, as I said, basically where we've gotten into, we are being introduced gradually into morphology, that is sarf, ilm sarf. Normally when we start studying Arabic, you'll be introduced to the grammar. You will learn something about the jumla fi'liya, jumla ismiya, mubtada, khabar. You learn fi'l, fa'il, maf'ulun bihi, and those topics. When you get ahead into it, you realize that you've been introduced to morphology. Now people have argued as to which one is the source. Is it morphology or is it syntax, which is grammar? Now grammar deals with words when they are in sentences, not when they are standing alone. When words are in sentences, then grammar comes to play. Before you know a word is marfu, mansub, majrur, majzum, it should be in a sentence or it should be in a construction. But when we talk about sarf or morphology, when the word is standing alone, because sarf deals with abniyatul kalima, the construction of the word itself. So when a word stands alone, sarf comes to play. So some argue that sarf is the beginning and then nahwu continues. But then we realize that when you follow books of Arabic, you realize they start treating the grammar before you are introduced to sarf. I don't know, maybe due to complexity of the field of sarf. Now here he says, Isnadul af'al sahihati والمعتلة إلى الضمائر البارزة. Now you've learnt الضمائر البارزة in the previous lessons. When we say bariz, when we say something is bariz, we mean the thing is apparent. يعني it is ظاهر. يعني الضمائر البارزة, basically we mean الضمائر الظاهرة, pronouns that you can see that are written in the sentence. Some pronouns we normally say ضمير مستتر. Like I say الولد يلعب. الولد is مبتدأ, يلعب is فعل مضارع, is fa'il. The fa'il of the yal'abu becomes damirun mustatir, taqdiruhu huwa. There is a huwa in the yal'abu, but it's not written. It's a damir mustatir. It's a hidden pronoun. We've learned about these dimensions of pronouns. Now here he's coming to tell us, when you connect a verb, a strong ending verb, to a pronoun that is apparent, how do you write it? Now here we are dealing mostly with the writings, how they appear in writings and how they sound. That is basically what we are dealing with here. And we are going to talk also about isnad al-af'al al-mu'talla, weak verbs also, how when they connect to these pronouns they appear. So you are going to see the verb and the pronoun come together. They are going to create a alaqa. They are going to create an alaqa isnadiyya. Alaqa isnadiyya. You know, we have sentences that are devoid of isnad. We've told you, when you see any jumla that is jumla mufida, as you saw in the beginning sentences, which can be a jumla ismiya or a jumla fi'liya, we call this jumla mufida. We call it jumla mufida because it has isnad. Isnad is when you have something in the sentence you are talking about, basically the fa'il or the mubtada. When I say yadhhabu, yadhhabu alone, and there is nobody we are talking about here, basically I need a huwa. That is why we normally say after the i'rab of the fi'il, then we say wal fa'il damir mustatir. You can't just have the verb alone without fa'il. In that case, there is no isnad. There is nobody that the sentence is dependent on, is talking about. In the mubtada and khabar, when you have just the khabar alone, like you say jamilun, jamilun. Where is the isnad? Where is the musnad? The one that the jamilun is talking about. So you need to say al-waladu, you need to bring the musnad, and then the musnad ilayhi completes it. Jamilun. Okay, so when we talk about isnadul af'ali sahihati wal mu'tallati ila ad-dama'ir al-bariza, now the damir is there. You are going to link the fi'l, the verb to it. Okay, so here in this one here, it says we are going to first look at isnadul salim والمهموز والمثال إلى الضمائر. Now you know what the verb, what kind of verb we call السالم. We mean the verb that is devoid of, first of all, has completely strong letters and devoid of weak letter, and it is also devoid of hamza, and it is also devoid of tashdid, shadda, tad'if, as we saw it. There is no shadda in it. والمهموز, verbs that are containing all strong letters but have hamza in them, like akala. والمثال, and verbs that begin with weak letter, parts of the af'al al-mu'talla. السالم والمهموز, as we've learned, they are both af'al sahiha, or we say they are both fi'lani sahihani. Okay, so we look at it. He says al-amthila, examples. So you concentrate mostly on how the verb comes with the fa'il, or the verb comes with the damir. How the verb comes with the damir, the pronoun. Like sami'tu, you are looking at how sami'a is written together with the pronoun tu. So our damir baris here is the tu, and our fi'il is sami'a. Okay. So sami'tu nida'a. Sami'tu an-nida'a. I heard the call. I heard the call. Sami'na an-nida. We heard the call. We heard the call. At-tiflani sami'a an-nida. It's made them dual. The two children heard the call. The two children heard the call. Al-atfalu sami'u an-nida. The children heard the call. Al-banatu sami'na an-nida'a. The girls heard the call. Okay. Amartu. So here we have the fi'l as-salim. Al-fi'l as-salim. Sami'a. Sami'a. It has all strong letters, devoid of hamza and devoid of tad'if, devoid of shadda. Okay. Now, when you don't understand the classification of these verbs, okay, and you are on this lesson, please kindly go back to the previous lessons and then come before you come to this lesson. Okay. Now we look at this chamber. He says, Amartu bil ma'ruf. I ordered with good. Yani, I ordered people to do good. I enjoined with good. I enjoined people to do good. Al-ma'ruf here, kindness, goodness, charity. Amarna bil ma'ruf. We enjoined goodness, or we enjoined kindness. Az-za'iruna sa'ima al-intizar. The visitors are fed up of waiting, are fed up with waiting. Sa'ima, to be fed up. Sa'ima, to be fed up. So you realize the hamza in the first place was at the beginning. Amara, amara. Here we have sa'ima. The hamza is in the middle. It is also mahmuz. Fi'l sahih mahmuz. Az-za'irani sa'ima al-intizar. The two visitors got fed up of waiting, or got fed up with waiting. Az-za'iruna sa'imu al-intizar. The visitors, plural, got fed up with waiting. Al-amilatu bada'na al-amala. The workers, female workers, have started their work. The female workers have started the work. Then we come to the last category of verbs, which is the fi'l al-mithal. Al-fi'l al-mu'tal al-mithal. Al-mithal is when the weak letter starts the verb. So you have wa'ada. It starts with wow, which is part of the weak letters alif, waw, yai. Okay. It says wa'adtu, wa'ada bimana to promise. Wa'adtu bifi'l al-khair. Wa'adtu bifi'l al-khair. I promised to do good. Wa'adna bifi'l al-khair. We promised to do good. Al-bintani wa'adata bifi'l al-khair. Al-bintani wa'adata bifi'l al-khair. The two girls promised to do good. Al-aghniya'u, al-aghniya'u, the plural of gani, rich person. Al-aghniya'u wa'adu bifi'l al-khair. The rich people promised to do good. Al-ghaniyatu wa'adna bifi'l al-khair. Al-ghaniya, plural of ghaniya. Al-ghaniyatu, plural of al-ghaniya, rich woman. The rich women wa'adna bifi'l al-khair. The rich women promised to do good. Okay, so basically he started with the easier ones. May Allah bless the authors, the two authors of this book. They have a very good arrangement of topics. You know, when you look at the Isnad of verbs to ضمائر, you realize that there are verbs that when they connect to the ضمائر, there are complications. But he reserved that for later. So he's showing us ones that when you write, there is no technicalities. So here you realize that sa'imtu, the sami'a comes alright, and then you join it with your damir. Sami'ina, sami'a, the damir just comes to join. The damir here, alif, here we have sami'u, the damir is the waw, it joins peacefully. Amartu, the verb comes fully. Sa'ima, the verb comes fully. Bada'a, the verb comes fully, and then the damir joins. Okay, here you realize that wa'atu, there is no complications because the verb actually ends with a strong letter, so you don't need, there is no complications here. Now these ones are the easier ones. When you look at, there are some verbs, if he had started with, he would have confused that, or even if he has added it to it, he would have confused that. Like you have a verb like jara. You see, jara, when you want to bring the taw or the domir, you say jaraitu. You see the jara, which is the alif al-maksur at the end, now becomes yai, jaraitu. When you say jarat, the alif vanishes. There are technicalities in that regard. So he began with the verbs that when you join them to ضمائر البارزة, they don't create any complication. Okay, so he began with the السالم, المهموز, and then المثال. Okay, because when he if he had brought maybe al-ajwaf or al-naqis or al-lafif, he would have brought some complication. Now let's read the al-bath. Al-bath, he says, عرفنا في الدرس السابق ضمائر الرفع البارزة التي عرفنا في الدرس السابق ضمائر الرفع البارزة التي تتصل بالماضي والمضارع والأمر. Now he says in the previous lesson, we've known pronouns that are ضمائر الرفع, يعني they come in the position of رفع, which is the fa'il basically. We can say the fa'il or the mubtada, positions of, or na'ibul fa'il, positions of رفع. Pronouns that come in the positions of رفع, as we said in the previous lessons, are ضمائر الرفع البارزة التي تتصل بالماضي والمضارع والأمر, that come into contact with فعل ماضي, فعل مضارع, and فعل أمر. ونريد أن نعرف هنا حال الفعل السالم والمهموز والمثال عند اتصاله بهذه الضمائر. Okay, so we want to know the condition of the al-fi'l salim and then al-mahmuz and then al-mithal. We want to know their condition, how they will look like if they come into contact with these pronouns that we learnt about. Okay, he says كل فعل في القسم الأول من الأمثلة سالم. Each verb in the first category, that is the sami'a, it is a fi'l salim. It is devoid of shadda, it is devoid of hamza, So it is completely salim. It is completely safe, as I explained previously. So we call it fi'l salim. It says وفي القسم الثاني مهموز. In my PDF here, the dot is not showing on the zai, but be careful with it. If it's not showing in your book too, please put the dot on it. It is mahmuz from Hamza. Okay. The second category where we have the amara, sa'ima, bada'a. Those are af'al mahmuza. They have Hamza in them, but they are still fi'l sahih, af'al sahiha. Okay. وفي الثالث, and in the last category we have the af'al being mithalun. That is, it begins with a weak letter, which we had wa'ada. Okay. He said وقد اتصلت بهذه الأفعال الماضية في كل قسم بجميع ضمائر الرفع التي تتصل بالماضي. He says you realize that these verbs, these ضمائر الرفع, have all the ضمائر الرفع that we studied before have come into contact with fi'l madi here in this case. In the examples that we had, we joined them to al-fi'l al-madi as we read here. So we are going to join them to fi'l madi just as we learned. So we realize that all of them come with fi'l madi. Okay. And then he says ولو أنك ضاهيت بين كل فعل منها قبل اتصاله بالضمير وبعده ما وجدت أن الاتصال بالضمير أحدث فيه تغييرا. Okay, so it says ولو أنك ضاهيت, if like basically ولو أنك قارنت, يعني if you compared between when the verb was not connected, when the verb before the verb was connected, يعني قبل اتصاله بالضمير, before the verb was attached to the pronoun, وبعده, and after it has been connected to the pronoun, ما وجدت أن الاتصال بالضمير أحدث فيه تغييرا. You wouldn't find that the connection with the pronoun has caused any changes, as I indicated before. He started with those that when they connect with the damir raf'u, it doesn't cause any changes, so that it doesn't confuse us. So when you write it, this is how it comes, as he's shown us in the examples. ويمكنك أن تسند وحدك مضارع كل فعل في الأمثلة السابقة وأمره إلى ضمائر الرفع التي تتصل بهما. He says, and you can on your own وحدك to connect the mudari of these verbs to the ضمائر الرفع on your own. Why? Because they do not cause any changes. You write them normally. Okay. He says فإن فعلت فإنك سترى بنفسك أن المضارع والأمر للسالم والمهموز والمثال لا يتغيران أيضا بالإسناد إلى الضمائر. He said that if you do this yourself, you realize that the mudari and the amr, the command form of these verbs, the verbs as-salim, al-mahmuz, al-mithal, you realize that these kind of verbs, when they, even the mudari, when they connect with the ضمائر الرفع, لا يتغيران, and they do not change when they are connected with the ضمير. لا يتغيران أيضا بالإسناد إلى الضمائر, when they are put to the ضمائر. So basically, as I said, this part has to do much with morphology. Okay, so here he is basically telling you, when you write the pronoun with these three verbs, don't change anything. There are places when they come into contact with the ضمائر, you yourself will see a lot of changes, and we will see it inshallah in our previous lessons. Al-Qaida, the grammatical ruling here, it says إذا أسند السالم والمهموز والمثال إلى ضمائر الرفع البارزة لم يحدث هذا الإسناد فيها تغييرا. If the verbs that fall under the category of as-salim, al-mahmuz, and al-mithal are connected to ضمائر الرفع البارزة, they do not create any problem. This إسناد, this connection do not create any changes. لم يحدث هذا الإسناد فيها تغييرا, do not create any changes. Okay, so basically this is what he wants to tell us here. In subsequent lessons you will learn this topic here, إسناد المضاعف والأجوف إلى ضمائر الرفع البارزة. To give you an idea, you see that this verb here is shaqqa, shaqqa, to break into parts, to break into basically two parts. So here that the verb is shin qaf shadda. It is a fi'l muda'af, fi'l muda'af. In attaching it to the dhamir, it becomes shaqaqtu, shaqaqtu. You realize that shadda has been taken off and the qaf has been opened. So this what we talk about. There will be complications when we pick these types, inshallah. May Allah grant us beneficial understanding, and please do well to be revising. And we apologize for every all the blocks, all the stops and pauses that we've been having. There are technical issues, as I said. Inshallah, when as and when we are able to overcome such, we would do our best to put the lessons out for all of us to benefit. But then in the meantime, as the lessons drop, do well to be revising your books, read over, make sure the qawaid you've memorized, basically you've memorized them. Try your best possible to memorize them, memorize the words, not just finish the book, as I've always been advising. Nahu is about understanding. It's not everything that is in the books. You need to give yourself time to understand everything very well. And also those who have been asking for the for me to explain the exercises, inshallah, you know how we are trying our best to make time to even record the lessons. The assignments also demand time. That's why I didn't start with it, because I don't want it to get to a point where my strength or my time wouldn't allow me. So please bear with me, inshallah. When I have enough time at my disposal, I will do well to record them separately and then attach them, each lesson with its assignments. And I thought that they are assignments that are being given in madaris, so I didn't want to solve them such that it becomes easy. So what I think I would be doing, inshallah, if I have the time, is just to explain the assignment, what they require from us, inshallah, and put it out for all of us to benefit. My main goal is for you to understand the topics, understand grammar, inshallah. May Allah make this easy for us. See you again. Do well to subscribe if you've not done so, and share with friends. Just as you found it and it benefited you, do well to share with friends and families so that they also benefit, inshallah. Till we see you again, have a good Arabic time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.